So I soaked this overnight in CLR and I scrubbed it some more, and I scrubbed it and used some other cleaners, and this is as good as it's going to get. There's still some scale right here, but the truth be told, this tub is starting to feel, the more I kind of run my fingers across it, the bottom of the tub is very porous. I think that maybe the porcelain is not as, I don't know, it's just like not as, the integrity is not there. So I am actually going to paint the whole bottom of the tub, and I'm probably going to paint just until I reach this, this is like a weld line for the tub, so I'll just go about an inch above, or 3/4 of an inch above the tub. That'll just give me some peace of mind that there's not going to be any issues or future corrosion, because I don't know, it's just hard to explain it, but this porcelain doesn't feel like porcelain should. So I think just over the years it's kind of wore out, and it looks like, based on the condition of the tub, that this washer was not perfectly level and that it was holding quite a bit of water for very long periods of time, especially towards the back here. You could see that's where the worst of it is. And so, you know, when it holds water for so long, then you'll get situations like this. So I'm going to get ready. I'm just going to wipe everything down with an alcohol pad just to get whatever residual stuff is off, and then I'm going to use the POR, and we're going to do a final coat, and we're going to have to let that sit for another day, and then I could get started with my sealing, and then we can put it back together. So that's kind of exciting. Okay, so regarding this hole, I basically just couldn't let it go. So I bought some JB Weld, and I'm going to just kind of patch the hole a little bit, and I'll let it dry, and it should be that. So definitely use gloves. This stuff smells so bad. It's like repulsive to me. But oh. Alright, so it's all painted. It's still very wet, so I can't do anything until tomorrow, but I did paint just a little bit, kind of rolled up the edge there a little bit. Everything's nice and sealed. I also painted the spin tube, or at least the upper part of the spin tube. Hopefully, if this machine ever gets worked on again, it doesn't need a spin tube, because that is going to be going to pose a little bit of a difficulty getting it out. It's going to definitely kind of glue it in. I also, right up here, I put the JB Weld, the steel stick, and it dried pretty quickly, so I just went ahead and painted right over that too. So we have ourselves a properly repaired tub, and we're just going to let this dry overnight. So tomorrow I'm going to put my 3M red sealant at the drain port assembly, and then I'm going to put my 3M sealant over here at the air dome assembly, and then we're really going to be ready to put it back together. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to let it dry another day after I put the red sealant on, and then I could put it back together and we could run another cycle through. So this is going to be a pretty slow process, but once everything's dry and I got everything sealed again, we'll put it all back together. We'll do a courtesy load just to make sure we don't have any leaks, and hopefully that'll wrap up the whole top of the washer, and then we'll move on to the bottom. Okay, so our tub is finally nice and dry. We're going to use this 3M sealant. I definitely recommend this stuff if you guys are working on any vintage washers. I'll put a link in the description so you can buy some. It's not expensive, it's a big tube, it lasts a really long time. So we're just going to put, I'm going to put some sealant around this air dome assembly. I'm also going to put a little bead around the tub seal, even though I don't think it needs it, but I'm going to put it anyways. And then I'm going to put a pretty healthy dose around the drain port. So we'll start with the air dome assembly and work our way back. Now to help knock down the rust, I'm just going to use some emery cloth. This is like a plumbing type sandpaper. And we're not looking to get it down to the bare metal. We're just looking to knock the big stuff off and get it ready for paint. You have to understand that after 35 years, this is pretty much the sum of all the rust. So it's not like that this is going to get super wet or anything. We just need to get it protected and prevent it from spreading. So I went ahead and I got a moving pad, and I just kind of covered the tub area just to prevent some overspray. I also taped a little bit just around the edges over here, just so I don't kind of get white paint on my tan colored metal brackets. And this is the paint that I'm going to use. This is a Whirlpool branded paint, and I really like this stuff because it is very fast drying. This stuff dries in like 5 minutes. It's really good stuff. And it goes on very, very thin. So if you do want to actually paint your cabinet, you do have to make it a point to use multiple coats, but you can recoat after like 10 minutes. So you could get it done really quick. So this is the stuff we're going to use. We're not going to get that serious as far as doing multiple coats, because we just need to seal it, prevent it from rusting anymore. And but it should turn out fine. Alright, as you could see, it turned out really, really nice. You could still see where the rust kind of corroded. Oops, I shouldn't touch that. The rust kind of corroded, but the fact of the matter is that it's all sealed up, and there's no live rust, so to speak, anywhere on the top half of this cabinet. There is a little bit on these metal brackets, but we're not going to be really concerned about this because this is really thick steel, and this is going to take 1,000 years for it to rust out. If you wanted to be a perfectionist, which I would do if I was doing like a full restoration to this machine, I would take these brackets out, have them sandblasted, and then paint them and try and find a color that was pretty close, like I don't know if this is like a toast color or something like that, but I'd paint them some sort of like tannish, grayish brown color. So but these are really thick and they don't need to be painted. The metal cabinet is thinner, that needs to be protected, and then obviously the porcelain top, despite it being thick steel, seems to, once that porcelain coating is gone, it will rust actually pretty quickly. And then you also get some water over there, which is kind of not good. So we're going to let this sit for about 40 minutes, just enough time to get this paint to really set up and dry. Then I'll pull my tape off, I'll pull my blanket off, and then we'll start the reassembly process. Okay, literally only 10 minutes has passed and the paint is already dry, which is awesome. Okay, so we're going to reassemble and then we're going to let it sit. Okay, so for reassembly, the only really thing that you need to do is I take a little bit of Vaseline and I will put some on the actual drive block. The goal is because this drive block is a different metal than the spin basket, we want to put like a little bit of a barrier there so that they don't do that bonding thing that they've done you know, when I was removing the tub. So just a thin coat, nothing serious. Don't put too much because it's going to wind up in your laundry, but just a little dab, that's all. Now we got our spin baskets nice and clean. I did paint the inside of the spin tube. There was a little bit of rust there. And I just kind of scraped it a little bit and put some POR 15 in there. Now to put the tub in, you just got to set it in. There's no lining it up or anything like that. You just get it in. The nut does the adjustment. So the tub's in there nice and secure. I did not clean the agitator or the tub ring, so I'm going to do that now, and then we'll get everything back together. Oh boy, what a lot of cleaning. So I ended up spending an entire day again on this machine, just getting into the nitty-gritty of things. I just kind of couldn't figure out when to stop, so I just didn't. So I got everything squeaky clean, everything's painted. The whole top half of the machine is in absolutely awesome condition right now. I still have to do a little bit of cleaning on the lid. I wanted to wait till I could actually get some water in the tub before I did that. So I got the fill spout clean. All the pieces are back in place. I also painted that snubber arm. It was kind of rusty. So, but overall, I'm really impressed with how clean this machine is turning up. I will be doing a test run tomorrow. I will publish that video. I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one.